My name is Ray Bowers and I'm part of Team 26, Alexa Make My Web Page Accessible. And this is my midterm oral report on a technical issue that I had to come up with a solution for. Our team's project is focused on creating an Alexa skill with a voice user interface for Amazon sellers. Amazon sellers have an account open with Amazon where they are able to sell products through their website. And sometimes when those sellers commit some sort of infraction, their account becomes suspended, and they have to fill out what's called a plan of action form. Various infractions could be, if a seller accidentally sells a piece of counterfeit merchandise, or if they have orders that need to go out and for some reason they don't make it on time, they will incur the infraction. And the current way that it works is they have to fill out a web form with the root cause of the issue, what they did to solve the issue, and what they're going to do to prevent it in the future. So our skill replaces that web form and allows sellers to fill out the form via Alexa. So the issue that came up was that we realized we had been using a sort of obsolete way of writing the skill where everything was really hard-coded and the conversation didn't feel very natural. Also, our team was sort of running out of work because the way that we had written it before, we were pretty much almost done with all the given requests for functionality. So our product was almost done and we needed more work to do this semester. And the other problem with maybe moving forward and what made it a difficult decision to switch to a dialogue model was that it would basically mean rewriting our entire code base. So my issue was that I was tasked with deciding between moving forward as we had written the skill or changing everything and using this more modern dialogue model where the conversation would feel much more natural. To come up with a solution, I did a lot of research on the two proposed methods. We had members of our group that wrote up models and even samples of what the code would look like when we were moving forward, and I compared the two pros and cons, and I researched online, what exactly it would entail for us to switch everything we were doing, and if it would actually be worth the added effort to do so. And so I ended up realizing that the most important thing about a voice user interface is for the dialogue to feel natural. Users do not like having to feel like they're changing the way they would normally speak in order to interact with Alexa. And the hard-coded way that we had it prior to this was it would force the user to start a sentence with a very specific phrase, like if the question was what was the root cause of the issue, the user would have to start by saying the root cause was, and then everything after that would be captured as the answer. So with the dialogue model, you would be asked what is the root cause of the issue, and as soon as that question ended, whatever your response was would be saved. So that would increase efficiency also in our skill. So I did decide, after all my research, that I wanted us to move forward with the dialogue model. I explained my decision to the group. We all talked about it, and I of course asked for their opinions because this is a group project and it's important to make sure everyone's on board. But so we moved forward in that direction. So far the results have been that there's kind of a higher learning curve introduced because we essentially rewrote the main functionality of our skill. Instead of writing it into the index.javascript file now, most of the conversation handling is existing in the JSON file. But we do have a better version of the product that we set out to make. This has also meant more work for the group, which is something that has been beneficial to us because we had kind of hit a roadblock and weren't sure where to go. But it's also been a little bit stressful because, it was more work than we thought we would be taking on. And then another result that I didn't foresee is that we have less control over the dialogue now. So random answers from users can be accepted, and if they choose to submit that as their form, it will be submitted, which isn't great, but it's still on the user for them to ensure that they're giving the most accurate information. And the thought is that, you know, these people want their account reinstated, so that shouldn't be an issue. In the future, if I was faced with the same issue, I don't know that I would ever be in a situation, honestly, where finishing a project ahead of schedule with required functionality in place would be rejected for a more modern model. But I would do exactly what I did in this situation if ever faced with that sort of decision. Doing the research, doing a lot of testing on my own, coming up with what I felt would be most beneficial to myself, the team, and the sponsor and clients. That's exactly what I would do again in the future. In fact, I would spend more time researching. But of course, in a real world scenario, that would depend on if the client was happy with what we had already finished previously, and if the budget would allow for us to do that much more extra work. But in the end, we did land on a much better model. There's higher product value now, and we're still on time to complete the project within the given time frame. So all in all, I'd say that it was a good decision, and yes, I would make the same one in the future, depending on the outcome of my research. Thank you very much for watching.